Hey guys, it's Matt, Trend of 943. In today's video, I have blog video number 6 here on the PRR Keystone. In today's video, we're going to be discussing a whole bunch of layout work that I've been doing over the past month or so. As you guys may or may not recall, if you guys watched my video where I unveiled my C420, that's the engine you're looking at right now, I said that I did a whole bunch of layout work and that I was not going to describe it in that video. I was going to wait till this one. So that's what we're going to do in today's videos. We're going to talk about some layout work and we might even run some trains too. So let's take a look at what we got. Okay, so we'll start off today's blog video by rather briefly talking about some stuff I did on the control panel here. I also got some new items for the control panel. I'll talk about them in just a minute. One of the first things I did was I moved my DCS TIU from where it was, which is where the legacy base is currently. I moved the TIU down, and then I just put my smoke fluid and stuff where the legacy base was, and then the legacy base is now up here, right here, and then now I also have a spot for my DCS remote up here, so if I want to access the trains quickly, I just grab a remote and go. And same thing holds true for the legacy base. I don't know, maybe it's a personal preference for me, but I like having the legacy base up on top here. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I like it. And then we have my legacy power master, which is basically just for looks really, because something's wrong with it. I cannot vary the power at all through it. I don't know why. If I was to go and address the power master, which I have it on engine 1, I was trying to turn the power down. See, nothing happens. All we have is a cool light show, but I don't know with that. But in any case, so that brings me to my next thing, which is one of the new items I got, which that is the LCS SCR2. Now what this is used for, this is, well, what I'm using it for anyway, so I'm using it to connect the cable that I got with the DCS, which is this cable here. Let me turn the flashlight on so you guys can see. This cable right here, this cable goes up and around to here, so now I can run the Lionel trains off the MTH remote, because with the way this was before, with the cable system that Lionel uses, the PDI cable, you have the cable, the PDI cable, well, you need a way to still connect this cable too. So what you do is you buy this. Now this is just specific to me because I use this cable here, the MTH cable. If you don't use it, you don't have to buy this, but I got it because I do use the MTH cable quite a bit actually. So I need to basically I need a splitter to connect everything, so I could use the PDI stuff and this, and that's what this LCS SCR2 does. Now also I have it connected to my sensor track, which is right here. Now it was over here someplace, but I was able to get the 3-foot PDI cable, which actually I'm very surprised. This is about the length of the cable right here, which I had no idea it's 3 feet, but it must be 3 feet. So the guy I got this stuff from, I got this stuff from Grabowski's train store, which I don't really care for him, as you guys may or may not know. If you don't know the story with my Pennsylvania Heritage SD70 ACE, then you're probably wondering, Matt, why do you hate him? Well, the reason as to why, because this engine was broke pretty much out of the box, and I took it to him and I was very disgusted, and that's, the story just goes on and on. It was having problems with, especially with the sound system, so we got that fixed finally. It had to go to him once, and then it went to Lionel twice before they finally fixed it, but now it's working fine. But that's the reason why I'm not really crazy about his stuff, because I don't really want to buy stuff from him, because I don't want to see stuff broken. But the benefit with him was that he was really cheap on this stuff. I got the LCS thing, the 3-foot PDI cable, and the legacy writable module, the black thing in my legacy base, for right around $70. So that was a really good deal. And I was gonna buy from Nicholas Smith Trains up in Pennsylvania, the other side of Pennsylvania that Grabowski's from, but he was a little more expensive, especially on the module. So figured I'll take it from Grabowski because he was a little cheaper, so that's why I went with him. So And another thing that you guys are probably saying, well, I know in Blog 5 you were talking about getting the LCS Wi-Fi and this. Well, what I decided to do was I wanted to get the C420. So what I did was I got the C420, and then I had to put everything else on hold. But now I finally got some money, so I was able to get the SCR2, and the Wi-Fi will be coming soon. I just have to save a little bit more money up, and then I can purchase that. And then I also want to put the Cab 1L command set in, so that way should this legacy base ever go down, I'd have a way to use this remote or the Cab 1L remote to run the trains. So, or I need at least the base. I'm still deciding on whether or not I want to get the remote too, but I might just get just the base, and then if I want the remote I could add it at a later date. But I think that's what we're gonna do for that. But in any case, take a look at some layout work, then we'll go run some trains for a little bit. Okay, so as far as layout work goes, turn the flash off. Alright, as far as layout work goes, I went ahead and obviously removed my upper level. Now, the main reason as to why was because, you know, I got to thinking about it, and I really figured that, you know what, it was going to be a lot of time and money on something that I really wasn't crazy about even worrying about in the first place. I really wasn't crazy about having an upper level. It was just kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing at the time, and I really just didn't care for it, so that's exactly why I got rid of it. Because I just didn't want to spend the time and money on it, because or else I wouldn't have the C420, the module, or my Pensi Mikado, which actually is right over here. Right there, the steam engine there. I wouldn't have those because I would have to be spending all my money on that upper level, so that's why I took it out. So that's that. So now I put my inside line back the way it was, which was just around the loop thing. And then I was able to use my two switches that I have. They're manual switches. I was able to make this small little track here. Now I usually put engines on here, like the big ABAs or whatever. I took my ABA off. I got a Burlington Legacy ABA. I'll run it a little later, but that's what I ran with that. So that's what I usually put here, but it's on the shelf. It's actually over there. But that's that. So I'm still kind of working out everything. I'm still kind of figuring out where I want everything, but I think this is where I think I'm gonna stay for now. Got some buildings over here, and then I just got, you know, buildings and such over here. Here's all the piers from the trestle project. But that's that. So one more thing, and then we'll run some trains for a little while.
The track is clear. Over. Roger that. 8510 out. Pensi 8510. Clear into the station. Over. Thank you much. Clear into the station. 8510 out. Dispatcher, Pennsylvania 8510 here. Stopped, ready to cut off. Over. Roger that. Stand by and set your brakes. Out.
Now, I'll turn this down so you guys can hear me talk, but this is the other thing I wanted to talk about. Right here. Now, it's not just the GP7, it's all these cars behind it. So you guys are probably wondering, Matt, what's so special? Well, I did end up weathering these pieces. Now, the GP7 looks a little cruddy because I didn't realize that the paint that I used to weather this, I did not put like a clear coat over it. So all this is like this because I had to handle the engine to pick it up. So I will have to redo that and put a clear coat over it. I'll put a clear coat over the whole thing, but I think it looks really good. I did go for a heavy weathered look just because that's what I want, but that's that. So I think it looks really good. If we take a look at the top, you can see it looks really good. I think it looks great, but you guys may not care for it, but I personally really like it. Now, there's still a lot left to do on it. I want to weather the deck here. I want to do the handrails, as you guys can see. I did one handrail here. I want to do the steps and there is just a little bit of work that I have to do. One I still got to touch up here, but other than that, it's pretty much done. So it looks great, I think, especially if I have to turn the light off. You can get a rough idea as to what you see when you look at it, but that's pretty cool. So it's getting there. I think it looks really good. Although the only problem is now I'm out of rust colored paint, so I'll have to pick up some more. So, but anyway, let's take a look at the cars we got behind this thing. Okay, so here's the cars. First car we have is a Lionel bathtub gondola, or coal car. That's usually what I call them. I just call them coal cars. That's what they are to me. But with this one, all I basically did was I really weathered it really good. I just took the rust paint and just kind of did the whole car with it. As I turn the light off, you guys can kind of get a rough idea what it looks like. I think it looks really good. If you want to see some better pictures of it, go to my Facebook page. It's in the video description like always, and you can see it. I even was able to weather the truck side frames and the wheels. I was able to rust those up pretty good. So if you look close, you probably can see some bare spots, but I think it looks really good. It's not just one of the cars. Let's continue pulling the train down and see what else we have. Okay, here's another. This is an MTH Rail King. I'm sorry, Rail King pacemaker box car. It's New York Central, and this one I pretty much did the same thing as the other one. Weathered the wheels and the truck side frames, and just did a really good job with this one, I think. Moving on down the line, this one I've had it weathered for a while. This is like one of my first. This is like really one of my first weathered cars I really did, and I think it turned out great. Oh, and also, by the way, now's a good time to mention, none of this cars here were airbrushed. This was all painted. All of this was all painted, and this car here was airbrushed, but everything else I'm going to show you is not airbrushed. This is the only airbrushed car. Everything else was just painted. Got a CP rail coal car. And here's one of 3 8000Ks that I really was starting to work pretty heavy on. These are assorted road names, including Pennsylvania. This one I didn't do the wheels on this one. I just noticed that right now, actually. I'll fix that, though. Got a B&O version. Then we have a New York Central version. I think I did a pretty good job on this one. Then we have an MTH Premier Blue coal car. Here's a Pennsylvania flat car, bulkhead flat car. Now it used to have 4 pieces of scale tracks on it, but gave those to my dad so he could use those. Here's an MTH Premier PL&E flat car with Zambonis on it. Here's a New York Central Lionel PS2 hopper. Still gotta do the wheels on that one. And finally, on the back we have a Union Pacific caboose. Now this one I only weathered the body. I'm not crazy about weathering cars that have these silver frames on them, because I like the look of the silver frames. I might weather the wheels, but of course, being that Union Pacific is still a working railroad, I'll probably just leave it the way it is. But I'll think about that one and see. But in any case, that's that. Now there are a couple other weathered cars that I've worked on, but these are the ones that I was really starting to work heavy on because I really like the way they turned out. So, but that's gonna be that for a while until I get some more paint. I'll have to work on just running trains and such. But in any case, that's going to do it for this video. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and run some trains for you guys. So I'm Matt, train number 943. We'll catch you later, guys. Have a great one.
8510, do you read me?
Roger that. 8510 here.
Start her up and stand by.
Copy. Starting up the engine. Out. Here. We are on. How's that track look? Are we clear? Over.
Affirmative 8510, the track is clear. Over.
Copy that. 8510 out.
Tensi, 1854. Waiting on that cleared signal. Can I get a green light, please? Over. Affirmative 1854. The track is clear. Out. Thank you. Cleared outbound. 1854 out.